Hello everyone, welcome back to the Immigrant Programmers channel. My name is Kritika and today we're going to discuss how to solve a problem that we face in our day-to-day lives. The problem is processing heavy images. So as you know, images are a big integral part today of any modern user-friendly application. So let's take an example of any social media platform or an e-commerce website or pretty much any other website. They all make use of images in some way or the another. For instance, in some platforms, they want to crop their profile picture, they want to format it, they want to increase the quality of their profile picture, apply filters, and so on. And in other platforms like e-commerce platforms, there are some merchants that want to enhance the image of their product so that they sell more and more products. So the most frustrating part is to deal with large images. So on a bad internet connection, they can take forever to load. And what's even more frustrating is to store those heavy images into databases. But don't worry, I'm not only here with the problem, but I bring the solution as well. So basically, there's a way we can make our images more user-friendly. We can make them load faster and even with higher quality. And the solution I have in mind is Sharp library used for Node.js. So the typical usage of for this Sharp library that we're going to talk about in today's video is to convert large images into smaller and more common formats. So for example, we have the web-friendly JPEG, PNG, WebP for images formats that this library supports and many other. So without wasting much time, let's look at some examples on how we can use this library. And all right, so let's dive into the code. Okay, so as you can see, I've prepared some really good examples for you in order to show you how you can use the Sharp library. But before we start using the examples, I want to tell you something. So first of all, to install this library, you just go npm install, or you could also just go npm I if you're lazy like me, and you just go sharp. So npm I sharp, and it's going to install the library for you. But I already have it, so I'm not going to go ahead and hit enter. I am just going to delete it. Okay. The second thing that I want to mention here is in order for you to use the Sharp library, your Node version should be greater than or equal to 10.16.0. So let's say my Node version is 12.18.3. So I can use Sharp. And if you don't have a version, if you have a Node version less than 10.16.0, you might want to consider updating it first before using Sharp, because it's not compatible with the versions under 10.16.0. Okay, so now that's clear. So let's move on to the first example. Okay, so what do we have here? So in order to use the Sharp library, we need to first require it. So like pretty much any other library that we want to use in Node.js, we require the library first before using it. So now we call the Sharp constructor, and we provide the name of the input file that we want to perform the action on. So basically for my input, I have this JPG file, this beautiful pictures of Niagara Falls. And so in the first example, what I want to do with it is I want to resize it, more like crop it, with a width of 250 pixels and a height of 350 pixels. And then I want to save the output to a file called output1.jpg. So let's see what happens when I run the script. So node example1.js. All right. So you see my output1.jpg file has been created. And if I open it, voila, my file has been resized. Let me open the original file as well so you can get some clarity. So this is the original file. You see it's quite big, and now this has been resized, and this is the new size that has been applied to the image. All right, so let's move on to the next example. So I'm going to keep the resize uncommented, but now I'm going to use a new method that's called the Grayscale method. So what will this method do is let's see, but it's quite clear as the name suggests. It's going to provide me with the grayscale of the image, so the 256 gray units. Let's run this and see what changed in our output. So basically, there you go. It provides the 8-bit grayscale of the image. Okay, and let me also show you the original image. Perfect. So this is done. I'm going to comment it out, and let's try the other grayscale method, the grayscale with an A. So what do you think is the difference between the grayscale with an A and the grayscale with an E? What's the difference between these two methods? And we'll see. Okay, so for this one specifically, I want to delete the output file and rebuild it. You'll know why. Okay, so you can guess the difference between the two. Meanwhile, I'm just going to go ahead and run the script. Okay, here we go. And voila. So basically, the grayscale with an E and the grayscale with an A, they do the exact same operation on the image. They provide the grayscale. So it's just an alternative spelling provided by the Sharp.js people. So it's up to you. You want to use grayscale with an A or grayscale with an E. They will do the exact same. They're going to produce the exact same product at the end. So next, we're going to use the negate method. And again, as you can guess by the name, what is it going to do? Yes, it's going to give me the negative of the image. So you see, and let me open the original image. And you can see that the image is still resized, right? Because I'm resizing it. Okay. So the negate method just provided me with the negative of the image. And to show you something else, basically it takes a parameter of true or false. So if I set this to true, it's going to do the exact same thing it did right now, because by default it's set to true, and it's going to provide the negative. But I can also set this to false, and then it's not going to provide me the negative. So do you want to see? Okay. You see, because I set the negate method, I set it to false. So I have the original image basically just resized. All right. So I comment this out. I move on to the next one, blur. It's really tricky to guess, right? Okay, let's see what happens. So this is going to blur my image. And do you see the difference? Do you see it's mildly blurred? So I'm going to open the original image for you. Do you see this is so clear, and this one is mildly blurred. But the thing is, if you don't want to blur it just mildly, because like I passed literally no parameters to the blurred method, so that is why it's been just blurred a little bit. But if you want to blur it with a more accurate Gaussian value, you can provide a sigma value, which ranges from 0.3 to 1000. And it can take it's basically a number. So I'm going to give it just 100 just to try it out. Okay, let's see the difference. Oh, so I just provided a value of 100 and it's almost completely blurred. So yeah, so if you want to blur, so according to how much you want to blur your image, a layer less, a layer more, you could provide the Gaussian, the sigma value, which ranges between 0.3 to 1000, as I told you before. So I am going to comment this out as well. So we've completed our first set of examples. We've covered a lot of stuff. Let's move on to the next one. So I'm gonna just go ahead and comment the first set out. We're gonna move to the next one. All right, so For the next example, we want to rotate our image, and we want to rotate it with an angle value of 180 degrees. So we take the same image and we call the Sharp constructor again, and we rotate it, and then we save it into a new format, which is the PNG format. Basically, my image right now is JPG, but I want to convert it to PNG. And then I want to provide a quality of 100 to the PNG file, to the PNG format. And the 100 is the maximum quality that I can provide. So this would be the best quality that we can do with Sharp. So the value for quality ranges between 1 to 100. And then again, I want to save it into a file called output1.png. So let's try this out. Let's see how that turns out to be. So I just run the script again, and I have my output1.png file created. Okay, I'm just going to delete the old one so that there's no confusion. So I'm going to delete the output1.jpg file. So this is the new file that we just created, output1.png. And remember, we rotate the image by 180 degrees. So let's see. Voila. Okay, so the image is basically rotated by 180 degree and it turned upside down. Okay, so next, what do we want to do? Next, we want to flip our image. Okay, let's try flipping the image. And I'm gonna just run it first, and then I'm gonna explain what happens when we flip the image. So you see a new output file has been created because I changed the name of my output file to rotate output.png. And let's work with this. So I will just delete the old one, or maybe I'll keep it. Yeah, it's better that I kept it. So you see, when I flip the image and when I rotate it by 180 degree, they seem to be the same, but they're not actually the same. So you see that the output in the both cases turned upside down. But do you see the casino in the output1.png, which was from rotate to 180 degree? It's on the right hand side, and in the rotate output.png, which came from the flip method, is on the left hand side. And if we see the image, in the image, it's actually on the left hand side. So do you see the difference between rotate 180 and flip? All right, so flip basically just flip the image along the x-axis. So this became this. So it was just flipped along the x-axis. But rotate, on the other hand, it actually changed the angle of the image. So that is actually a very subtle difference, but it's important to note here. It's worth noting. Okay, perfect. So we've flipped our image as well. And also I set the quality to be 1 in the flipped format. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention it before. So here you will see in the rotate output.png, I mentioned the quality to be 1. So there you go. And here in the output1.png, the quality is 100. So do you see any difference between the quality of the two images? Just a little bit. And this is the original file for clarity again. Okay, perfect. So we've covered flipping. Oops, deleted it. Okay, there we go. So we've covered flipping the image, we've covered rotating the image, grayscale, negative, blurring, and resizing, of course. So let's move on to the next set of examples, which is this one. Okay, now we want to rotate our image with an angle value of 360 degrees, and the rest, everything is the same. So yes, so rest everything is the same. Let's see what happens now. So a quick exercise for your brain muscles. Could you guess the output? Meanwhile, I'm gonna run the script. So the output goes to the rotate output.png again. There we go. And clearly nothing happens to it. So this is the original image. This is the output image with these set of operations. So basically rotating it by an angle of 360 degree. So it comes back to be the same image as before. But if you can notice the difference in the quality of the image, because I set the quality to be 1. So this is the original image. Look how bright and clear it is. And look at the output image from this set of operation where I put the output quality to be 1. There's a very subtle, very little difference between the quality, but I think it's quite visible. Okay, so since we're done with this example as well, let's move on to the next one, which is flop. So we did flip before, now we're gonna do flop. Okay, so the output is gonna go and rotate output.png again, but I don't like the name because we're flopping the image. I might as well save it in flop.png. Much better. All right. So let's go run it. And could you guess the output of the flop? Let's see. Flop.png. And there you go. So basically what happened was so this is my original image and this is wait, first let me just delete the rest of the output folder because it's just creating confusion. Okay, so I delete the output 1, I delete the rotate output png. Okay, so coming back to the flop.png. So okay, I ran the flop method here and coming back to this one, and this is the original image and this is the output of the flop.png. I hope you can notice the difference. So basically flop is flip, but in regards with the y-axis. So okay, I think it's getting a little bit confusing. So flip basically turns your image upside down along the x-axis, and flop does the same thing with your image but along the y-axis. So you see, there you go. So it's like an mirror image but along the y-axis. So I hope you could notice the difference, and the quality was 100 again. All right, so we've covered so many examples here, but don't worry, I have so many more. Okay, so let me just close this file and move on to the next set of examples, which is in the example2.js file. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to perform some operations on our image, and then we want to store that image in the database or maybe send the image file to the front end. So we want to resize the image, give it a width of 500 pixels and a height of 450 pixels, and then we want to format it into the PNG format as usual. We want to set the quality to 100 and the output file would be output.png. But then we execute the .then method here, and this method takes a callback function, and what it does is, so anything you write inside this .then method will be executed after all the previous methods have been applied to the image. So let's test it. I will not save it to the database or send it to the front end, but what I'll do is I'm gonna put a console log and see when it's executed. So please like, comment and subscribe. Haha. Okay, so and now I run my example2 file, 2 not 1, and see what happens. There you go. So you see, I have an output.png file right here. And this output.png file is the result of all these filters that I've applied. So you see it's been resized. Let me open the original file for you again. So this is bigger in size, but the output file has been resized to 500 pixels in width and 450 pixels in the height. And now it's in PNG format. Of course, the original picture was in the JPG format. And there you go. Then the block was executed, and then you could see the console log that I put inside the then block. So please like, comment, and subscribe. Please do, actually. And I also put a catch block here. So basically this is basically promise chaining. But let me tell you on this note, let me tell you that Sharp.js also works with callbacks and async await, but right now I'm using it with promises, but it does work with callbacks and async await as well. So so yeah, basically here I have a catch block as well. So if any error occurs throughout this this chain of promises, it's gonna go inside the catch block, and I'm gonna just warn the just basically print the error with the log level of warn as a warning. Okay. So I hope you understood this example. It wasn't pretty tricky. It was like really straightforward. And let's move on to the next example now, and the last example, I promise. Okay, so for this one, I have a GIF file. So I have a input gif.gif file. Please like and share, you know, pun intended, everywhere. All right. So I have this input gif.gif file and animated true. So basically I wanted to still animate once I convert the format of the file. So here I am just converting the format of the file to a WebP. So, and I'm saving it into an output file called output.webp. So for those who don't know what's an WebP file, let's see, we can Google it. WebP format. And WebP is a new image format developed by Google in order to make web pages faster to open. It can be reduced by up to 30% in size compared to JPG and PNG without altering the quality of the image. Okay, so it's basically a image extension which is lighter in weight and which is like really optimized. Okay, cool. So we're gonna convert our GIF into the WebP format using Sharp.js. Let's go. So you see it took some time because it was a GIF, and GIFs are generally a little bit heavier than normal JPG and PNG images. So I have the output in the output.webp file. Let me find it. Okay, it's here. So yes, I have the WebP format and it's still animating. It's great. So those are all the examples I have for you, regarding the Sharp.js library. If you want to know further details or like further methods about the Sharp library, I recommend you to go check their official documents. So if I just type Sharp here, so that's sharp.pixelplumbing.com. That's their official documents. So you can check the installation instructions for yarn, for npm, everything. And you can check their APIs, the constructors that they provide, and other options that you can apply to the images. So basically there's a lot of resizing options available, some color manipulation that you can do. So I would recommend you to take a look and explore all the stuff that you can do with Sharp.js. And together we're gonna take a look at the change log, because it's always good to see the change log, what changed in the latest versions and stuff. So here, the latest version was released on 14th of October. So it was released on 14th of October 2020, and they added support for the XOR input, and they added support for yarn version 2. And pretty much it. So if you want, you can dive into the changelog file, take a look at what changed when. But I think the more important part is to just understand the document, the official document, and just to understand the methods and the operation, the kind of operations they provide. That is possible using the Sharp.js library that you can perform on your images. To process them better. So I will put the link to the official document for Sharp down below in the description box. And if you have any other ideas for any other Node.js library or other JavaScript library that you want me to cover in the future, just put them down in the comment section. And yeah, if you're still here, just wanted to thank you for making it until the end of the video. Thank you so much. And just smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, The Immigrant Programmers, and hit the bell icon. Just support us. We're doing our best to provide you with the latest updates in the field of technology. Thank you so much, and until next time.